Good morning to you all. I think you can see my screen. This what file I am already created. I have already created. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Last day we have discussed the similarity and dissimilarity of the in between the magnetic circuit and electric circuit. Today and also last day we have already studied the leakage flux, fringing effect. Today we will start the topic that is energy stored in the magnetic field. I think you have already studied this in 10 plus 2 standard, isn't it?
Before jumping to the class, sir, I have some doubts. Can you please?
You have some doubts. Somebody have some doubt. Somebody
Sir,
is also trying to Winston put that is there. Okay.
hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, one of the dissimilarities between magnetic circuit and electric circuit are in magnetic circuit there is no wastage of energy.
There is no
Wastage of energy.
in magnetic circuit in a pure magnetic field. In pure magnetic field means a uh, pure inductance is there. So you are drawing current to this inductance. If you consider there is no resistance, so no wastage of power is there, and only the reactive power that is drawn by this magnetic coil, pure magnetic coil, that is nothing but the creation of the flux. And
Sir,
after creation
sir,
of
I got
flux,
it. But isn't it contradictory to the flux leakage?
actually there is if there is a flux leakage, but leakage flux is not a wastage of energy also. Actually, wastage of energy is there if there is any resistance part is there, means uh, in case in normal case or in practical case, nowhere you can found any magnetic coil that have no resistance at all. Each and every coil must have some resistance, so that resistive part will consume uh, energy loss, and that energy loss is involved in kind of heating effect, that is the I square F loss.
Sir,
But
my
pure
doubt.
inductive coil does not consume any energy loss. Only the energy that is required, it is drawing, that is the reactive energy. That energy is required for creating the magnetic flux or creating the magnetic field. You
Sir, my
understand?
doubt. Sir, my doubt isn't related to resistance. It's related to the flux leakage.
Flux leakage. If there is a flux leakage, there may have some flux leakage as because the air medium also uh, continue flux. So that's why there may have some flux leakage. So flux leakage is there. So actual original flux, that is created flux, that is the total amount of flux is same. Some amount of flux is leaked through the air as because air can carry flux, because air have a finite permeability, it can carry flux. And also magnetic material also carry flux, it has a permeability comparatively high. But original flux creation, that is total flux creation is same, and some amount of reactive energy that is drawn by this magnetic material or the magnetic coil for creating the flux, but no wastage of energy at all for a pure magnetic coil. But you cannot get any pure magnetic coil at all for a practical case. That must have some amount of resistance. That resistance part will evolve in terms of heating effect or energy wastage of energy, that is I square loss. You understand my point?
Yes,
Whenever
sir.
power is drawn to a coil, there must have some active power and reactive power. The active power is evolved, that manifestation of the active power is nothing but the wastage of energy in terms of heating effect. And the reactive manifestation of the reactive power, that is the creating the magnetic field. Or you are considering the flux creation, or that flux creation is the cause of the creating the magnetic field. Similarly, if any capacitive material is there, the capacitive material is drawing some amount of charge, but a pure capacitance does not have any kind of energy wastage. But you cannot get practically, you cannot get nowhere a practical capacitance that is pure capacitance, that must have some dielectric loss. That dielectric loss can be manifested in terms of the equivalent resistance, that is equivalently considered, that equivalent resistance consumes some amount of wastage of energy. That wastage of energy is manifested in terms of dielectric loss. That is practical capacitance, but pure capacitance doesn't have any amount of energy wastage. Only energy it should draw with pure capacitance, that is the reactive energy that is drawn when it is charging. So reactive energy is drawn in terms of charging. When it is discharged, reactive energy is delivered. So any capacitor, that is the var source, it will deliver some amount of reactive energy, and a inductor, that is a var sink, it absorbs the reactive energy. So capacitor is a var source that can deliver the reactive energy in terms of charging current. It will discharge when it will deliver some amount of reactive energy, and a inductive coil, that is a var sink, that will absorb the reactive energy. But a pure capacitance and a pure inductance coil doesn't consume any amount of power loss. Only it draws the reactive energy for creation of magnetic flux or drawing some amount of charge, for storing it, or sometimes for delivering it. You understood my point? Okay. Now today's topic, that is your
Sir.
yes.
Hello? Sir,
Hello.
can I say the bottom line is wastage of energy is not possible in ideal conditions, but in reality, the wastage of energy is possible through resistance or leakage.
Wastage of energy in
Wastage of energy is in reality. Wastage of
reality
energy, sir, in practical conditions, the wastage of energy is possible through resistance or leakage.
through resistance. Through resistance, whenever there is a resistance and drawing some amount of current, so manifestation is heating effect. That is I square loss. That loss is it consumes. That is the heating effect. And in case of inductive coil, in practical case, there must have some resistance at all. So very nominal resistance may be there, but pure inductance we cannot get nowhere. So some amount of wastage of energy that belongs to the internal resistance contained in the inductive coil. So that
Okay, sir.
internal resistance consumes the energy loss, but it draws reactive energy. It draws reactive energy. That reactive energy is uh, manifested in terms of the creation of flux. You understood my point? Or
Okay,
creating the magnetic field.
okay, sir.
Now we will start a new topic. That topic is if there is a inductance coil and a resistance is there, and you are giving some power to a battery or a number of batteries there, and there must have a switch. So V is the voltage, I is the current is drawing the coil, and inductance is L, self inductance is L, and resistance is R. So here there is a practical coil. As the coincidence of your topic you have already asked to me, there is an inductive coil. But in a practical coil, that must have inductance parameter as well as a resistance parameter. You cannot get any practical pure inductance. So it drawing some amount of current, and one part of the energy that is coming to this coil, that is your, that will maintain the resistance loss, resistive loss is there, and this resistive loss evolve in terms of heating effect. So first part, there is a resistive loss. So that raise the part, first part, that is the initial, that input energy, that is V into I, that input energy wasted in terms of heating effect, that is your I square into R. And another part of the energy that is, that also requires, and that is stored by the inductive coil. So this part I want to derive, which part that is stored in the inductive coil. So I am considering a current which is flown when the switch K, that is on. So there is a possibility of switching uh, whenever you are switching. So when it is switched out, or sometimes say it is off and it is on. So I am considering that initial moment there is no current flowing when it is off. But when you are switching on, say amount of current, that is your, say, small I. So this is the practical current. So I'm considering a time, very small amount of time, dt. So within this time period dt, there is a change of current, that is your di. So according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, when there is a change of flux linkage in the coil takes place, there is an induced EMF. So whenever there is a change of flux linkage, so change of current is there, so change of flux linkage is there. So induced EMF, that is equal to N into d phi dt. But this d phi dt is created due to the di dt. But in other way, you can say that induced EMF for this instantaneous current I, so it is the induced EMF, and instantaneous current is I, and this induced EMF E can be expressed in terms of this inductance and change in current L into di dt. You know it very well. And you can consider the work done in time period dt by overcoming this opposition of current change. There must have, whenever there is an inductive coil and you are trying to change the current, there must have some work done. That work done due to this change of current, that is your dw, and that is equal to work done, that is your power, that is induced EMF into I is the instantaneous current. So E into I, that is the input power, and input power into respective time is dt. That is your input energy. So work done is manifested in terms of input energy. So that input energy is nothing but L di dt, that is the induced EMF, into I, instantaneous current, into respective time period, that is dt. So it will be equal to L small I into di. So if you consider the total current, that is I small I is the instantaneous current. If you consider whenever you are switching, so after transition period is over, that is total current it will reach, that is I. So total work done, that is your W, that is your W, initial moment work done 0, final moment W, dW, that is equal to the current change 0 to I, L into I into di. So that is equal to half L into I square. So the work done is manifested in terms of the energy stored in the magnetic field or magnetic coil. So that is the stored energy. Stored energy. So that is equal to half Li square. So I think you have already derived this in your 10 plus 2 standard.
Then what happened to dt?
Yes.
What happened to dt?
What happened to dt? So actually dt is cancelled out here. Ei dt is the time period. Sorry, Ei is the
Is
power,
dw.
electrical power, into dt is the time period for instantaneous current change from 0 to small I. So
Sir, you
instantaneous
simply
current change,
integrated both sides. Where did dt?
so dt is cancelled out here. Actually LDI dt is the instant induced EMF. So LDI dt is E, into I is the current, into dt. Dt is the respective time period when the current change 0 to small I. So dt is multiplied here, dt cancelled out. So actual the work done for this instantaneous current change 0 to small I, that is your Li di. You understood this point? So now the total current change, this is a small transition period whenever the time period dt, the current change is di. So whenever you are considering the total current change, means after transition period is over, so at the point it reached, the current amount is I. So actual current change 0 to I. So you have to integrate this Li di over this integrating limit, that is 0 to I. So half Li square, that is the actual value of the total energy that can be stored in an inductive coil whenever the current change is 0 to I ampere. This current change is carried out by the switching operation. You understood this point? So the input energy is manifested in terms of I square R, that is nothing but the heating effect. And another part, that is equal to half L I square. So L is the inductive coil inductance, self-inductance, and I is the current that is flowing through the coil. Okay. Now, if you consider the stored energy in a series adding coil, there may have some coil in series connection. There may have some coil in some, this kind of coils are there. Say, so whenever current is flowing through a coil, so say this is the current is flowing through a coil. This is one coil having inductance L1, and that there is another coil inductance L2. And whenever you are flowing some amount of current, that is I, and here it is I also. So according to the Crookes-screw rule, there is a current whenever the current is flowing in this direction. So when current is penetrating, so flux direction is like this, Crookes-screw rule. So whenever current is penetrating in this direction, so a screw is traversing to these directions. So screw is penetrating in this direction. So flux that is flowing in these directions. So whenever current is flowing in this direction, and here the current is flowing in this direction. So if one coil, the flux linkage is carried out in the same coil itself due to its own current, that is the same flux linkage, and some amount of flux linkage is carried out. So here also the self flux linkage is there, but the direction of current that will dictate the flux linkage, whether it is the mutual flux linkage is also there. So some amount of flux linkage in the same coil, some amount of flux linkage in the another coil is there. But direction of flux, that it is manifested or it is dictated in terms of the Crookes-screw rule. Whenever current is flowing here, the screw is traversing this direction and the flux is created in this direction. So here also flux is created in this direction. So here we can see that this flux opposes this flux. So we can consider that mutual flux, that is opposing flux. So one flux is opposing another flux. So whenever you are considering the mutual inductance in between two coils,
Sir, how is it opposing?
because flux in this coil, according to Crookes-screw rule, that is this direction. So whenever current is flowing in this direction, so current is flowing here, so flux is flowing, that is also in this direction. So here this flux opposing this flux. So there is
Sir,
a flux.
But they are both going
Sir,
into
both-
the page, no, sir. So it is supporting
sir.
each other.
No, supporting will be carried out like this. Whenever coil is there, say this is a coil and this is another coil. Okay, so current is flowing here and here also current is flowing. This is coil L1 and this is coil L2. So current is flow. No, whenever current is flowing in this direction, according to Crookes-screw rule, the flux direction is this. So here also flux direction is this. So this coil, whenever there is a change of, whenever there is a flux linkage in this coil, due to the proximity of this coil here, so the direction of flux is same. So this is your mutual flux linkage, that is adding. So this here the mutual flux
Yeah.
linkage is opposing. Whenever current is flowing in this direction, then another coil current is also flowing in this direction. So this is say I1 current and this is say I2 current. The direction of flux like this. So here the current direction is same. So the direction of current like this. So one flux is coming this direction, another flux is coming this direction. So this is opposing. But whenever the current is flowing in this like this, so this is your current direction and this is your current direction. So this is say I1 and this is say I2. According to Crookes-screw rule, the flux direction that is this, and according to Crookes-screw rule, the flux direction is this. So this is your adding flux linkage.
Sir, the picture you have drawn in the first case is similar to that said adding flux, right? I add in opposite direction.
Sir, that is my question.
So this is the direction.
So they are both in opposite directions, the I and I, sir, with respect to that. So they should be adding up, no?
So this is your current direction and this is your current direction. So if this is current direction here, the flux linkage is in this direction, this current direction here, so flux linkage in this direction. So whenever it crosses, one flux is coming in this direction, another flux is coming in this direction.
Yes, sir. Both are going into the plane in the middle region.
How it is adding? So one flux is in this direction, so another flux when current is flowing in this direction, so it is in this direction. How it
So
is adding?
both are going into the plane, sir. Both of these flux.
No, you should consider that current is flowing in this direction.
If we cut out the branch in the middle, it will become the figure you've drawn at the end. But if we neglect the branch in the middle,
Say in class 12, sir, we have learned that flux in an inductor passes through the middle of the
Acha, sir.
inductor, inside the inductor.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Sir,
how?
some of the students want to join the class. They are
Okay.
waiting.
Mhm.
Sir, because the coils are rolling and we have to apply the left hand Fleming rules on the coil and then it will get
Yes,
stuck.
sir.
No students is there now. Okay, according to Crookes screw rule, whenever current is flowing in this direction, so flux direction is this. Okay, whenever current is flowing in this direction, the flux direction is
Sir,
this.
but we will check the direction in the coil, right? Sir, in that case, the flux will be generated through the coil, means it will pass from inside the coil, right?
No. Flux is not passing inside the coil. Flux, whenever current is flowing in this direction, current is flowing. So flux direction is this. Whenever current is flowing in this direction,
Sir, but in the coil side, there is no linear, so the current is not going in a linear path, right? It is going in the spiral.
flux is going in spiral path. So whenever current in this direction, like this,
Current is going in the spiral.
So the flux path would be similar
opposite
to the
current, we are
bar
also in
magnet.
this direction. So it is in this direction, and it is opposite direction. So it is also in this direction. So it is adding. Whenever it is same direction, then it is opposite. Whenever it is same direction means if the coil is there, like this. So it is in this direction flux linkage, and it is also in this direction flux linkage. That means here it crosses one in this direction and another in this direction. So it is when current passes in opposite side. So when that is your this direction and also this direction. So current passes in this direction, it also in this direction. So like this, current passes in this direction and also in this direction. So here it crosses this direction and this direction. So it is opposite, same direction. And current crosses the opposite like this. Current crosses in opposite direction. So it is in this direction and it is in this direction. Then it is adding. You understood my point? So this is wrong. I think this is.
sir, but in the inductor itself, the flux will go in a linear path through the inductor, no, sir?
Yes,
So
sir.
that there is no question of adding or opposing, sir, in that case like this.
No. Whenever transmission lines are there, so transmission lines mutually, there is a flux linkage. Okay. So one transmission line with there is a flux linkage in another transmission line. That depends on the direction of current, whether it is mutually adding or mutually opposing. So if it is direction of current is same, then the flux passes like this. One flux here, another flux is here. So one flux is here, another flux is here. So that is flux ultimately crosses. So it is like this. One flux is here, another flux is here. So when it is um, opposite direction, same direction current, then it is flux opposing. So it is phi 1 and it is your phi 2. So it crosses with one another. When it is a spiral, it follows a spiral path. So it crosses with one another. So it is opposing, but the opposite direction of current is there. So it crosses like this and it crosses like this. So one flux is adding another flux. And that is the mutually adding and mutually opposing. So here same situation is carried out. When the current passes in the opposite path, like this, so it is in this direction, so it is also
Sir,
in this direction.
sir,
So when opposite path is there, so it is when it is the path is opposite, then it is adding. But when path is same in this direction, so it is also in this direction. So it is opposing here. One in this direction, another in this direction. So it is opposing. But here, one in this directions. So another, it is also, it is your series adding. One in these directions. So another also flowing in these directions. So here it is, it crosses like this. One in this direction, another in this direction. So it crosses like this, it is opposing. When opposite direction of current is there, like this coil, like this uh, conductor like this, whenever current is flowing in the same direction, the flux crosses in this direction, here flux crosses in this direction, so it is also opposite. Whenever it is crossing the opposite direction, so the flux crossing in this direction, here flux crossing in this direction, so it is adding. So same coil, whenever current is flowing in the coil like this and like this, someone is trying to join here, I think. So it is mutually adding and it is mutually opposing. When the current direction is opposite, then it is mutually adding, just like the current direction here opposite, so it is mutually adding flux. When the current direction is same, just like this current direction same, so it is mutually opposing like this. Current direction, it is current direction opposite, so mutually it is adding. So here it is opposing. Now I have to insert another, sorry, another page. So now if I consider the stored energy in the series adding coil, so I have already explained what is series adding coil and what is series opposing coil. So whenever current is adding, the stored energy in the series adding coil.
Sir, can you please tell me the name of the rule used to determine the flux direction? Once
That is
again.
the clock screw rule. Clock screw rule. Whenever there is a screw is there, and the screw is like this, the thread is there. So whenever you want to turn the screw to penetrate in this direction, so you have to turn the screw like this. So this clock screw rule that tells the direction of flux. Thumb rule is also another rule, thumb rule. So whenever you stretch the thumb and stretch another, just like a friendship sign. So thumb represents the direction of current, and other finger that represent the direction of flux. This is also one rule is the thumb rule.
So right hand thumb rule also.
Yes, right hand thumb rule. Another is corkscrew rule. So whenever screw is there, that screw is penetrating this direction. So the penetration direction is the direction of current, and the turning of
Sir,
the screw. That
Nilargo
is
is trying to join. Sir,
okay.
Nilargo is trying to join.
Okay, okay. So stored energy in adding coil, you can consider the total stored energy in the adding coil, mutually adding coil. So I am considering there must have self-inductance and there must have mutual inductance. So self-inductance, that is carried out, the inductance where the self-flux linkage, that is due to the current passing through its coil, and mutual inductance, that is the flux due to the flux linkage in another coil. Two coils are there. One coil is there, one coil, so one coil is there, another coil is there, having inductance L1, inductance L2, and the mutual inductance, that is M. The self-inductance L, that self-inductance L, that is equal to, if the number of turn N1, number of turn N2, current is flowing here I1 and current is flowing here, say that is your I2. So self-inductance L is equal to the self-flux linkage per unit current. So if it is phi 1 flux creation, the flux creation is, that is a phi 1, and here the flux creation, that is your, say, phi 2. So phi 1 N1 by I1, that is your self-inductance L1. Similarly, self-inductance L2, that is equal to phi 2 N2 by I2. But if you consider the mutual inductance M, that is the flux linkage in another coil due to the current flowing in one coil. So first coil, second coil. So current flowing one coil, flux linkage in another coil. So flux linkage due to the current I1, flux linkage in coil 2, that is N2 phi 1 divided by I1. Sorry. Into phi 1 divided by I1. Similarly, that is the mutual inductance in coil 1. Similar way, you can say that is mutually, that is the second coil current and coil flux linkage in the first coil. So that is well to, if I consider the flux linkage in the first coil to the second coil current, so that will be N1 phi 2 divided by I2, like this. So there may have some self-flux linkage and mutual flux linkage. So self-inductance and mutual inductance. I am considering mutually adding flux linkage, and the stored energy in a mutually adding, for mutually adding coil, the flux link, stored energy. So that is equal to, first the stored energy in the coil 1, that is half L1 I square, if the coil is carrying current. So here I am considering two separate coil, and in previous case I am considering the same coil, same current is flowing, same coil, same current is flowing here. The series adding coil, that series adding coil may be mutually additing or mutually subtracting or mutually opposing, like this. So I am considering the same current is flowing in the coil 2 also. So the total stored energy in coil 1 and coil 2 due to the inductance, self-inductance, that is L2 I square, and it is mutually adding coil, then half M I square is one due to mutual inductance, and half uh, M I2 square, that is the mutual due to the mutual inductance. So for one coil, that is half M I1 I square, and another coil half M I square. The total mutually adding flux due to mutual inductance, that is M into I square, like this. Similarly, for mutually opposing coil, so it is series connected, mutually opposing flux. So that will be equal to half L1 I square plus half L2 I square minus M I square. Because in both cases, each and every coil, these are mutually opposing. So for one coil mutual inductance M, that is half M I square. Another coil mutual inductance M, that is half M I square. So both coils are mutually opposing, and that's why minus M I square. So now, if I am to draw the expression of the mutual self-inductance, so the expression of so firstly, there are different expression of first expression you can consider that whenever you are drawing some amount of current I and there is a switching arrangement and the change of current, that is di, for very small time period dt. So rate of change of current, that is di dt, is carried out for inductive coil, just like in previous case when I have already derived. So that is induced EMF, that is equal to L di by dt. So whenever you are changing some amount of current di in the time period, that is dt. So L di dt is the induced EMF. So that is you can consider that L is equal to E divided by di dt. This is one kind of expression. Another kind of expression you can carry out, that you know that induced EMF, that is equal to L di dt. So you can consider that Li dt. So if there is a flux linkage for any inductive coil, the flux linkage that is change of flux linkage, that is d phi, due to the current change di, the change of flux linkage is d phi. So another way you can consider that induced EMF E is equal to, if the number of turns is n, and then d phi by dt is the, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, n d phi dt. So that is equal to d dt of n phi. So we can consider in both way, that is n phi, that is equal to Li. So ultimately L is equal to n phi by I. So self-inductance is nothing but the total flux linkage per unit current. So this is the expression of self-inductance. Another expression of self-inductance you can consider in terms of the parameters. So there is a magnetic material and there is a coil, solenoid like construction. So some amount of current is flowing here, and number of turns is n of this solenoid, and the cross sectional area, that is we are considering A. So you know inductance. So for a small amount of current, you are considering, say, di current change for this solenoid. So di current change, the flux linkage for this di current change, you are considering the flux linkage, change of flux linkage, that is your d phi. So if you consider the formula, above formula, that is the inductance parameter, that is the total flux linkage, that is N into d phi by di. So total flux linkage per unit current. So for this small current change di, the flux link change of flux linkage, or the total flux linkage, very small amount of, that is d phi, and if the number of turns is n, so total flux linkage per unit current, that is n d phi by di. You can consider the flux, that is nothing but the flux, that is nothing but mmf by reluctance. So that is mmf, magnetomotive force, divided by reluctance. So mmf by reluctance, that is your mmf is nothing but the ampere turn per unit length of the magnetic circuit. So ampere turn, that is n into I divided by L, that is your mmf, and reluctance, that is mmf is nothing but the ampere turn, and reluctance, that is L divided by A into mu 0 mu r. A is the effective cross sectional area, and mu 0 mu r, that is the absolute permeability and relative permeability. So that is equal to Ni divided by L into A mu 0 mu r. So ultimately, if you consider, that is your inductance parameter, that inductance parameter L is equal to N d phi by di. So N d phi by di, so that is your, the expression becomes, that is N into d phi, that is if you consider, if you make the derivative of this phi expression, the d phi by di, so that becomes these parameters. So N by L into A mu 0 mu r. So N by L A mu 0 mu r. So ultimately, that is N square A mu 0 mu r divided by L. So ultimately, that becomes N square divided by L divided by mu 0 mu r into A. So that is equal to N square divided by reluctance R. This R is reluctance R. So N square by R, in terms of circuit parameter, you can express also the inductance. Now if you consider mutual inductance parameter.
Sir, can you please slide upwards? Can you please slide upwards 1 second?
Okay.
Okay, sir. Continue.
Now if you consider the mutual inductance, expression of mutual inductance, if you consider, so that is one coil, and that is another coil is there. And here the flux and here another coil current. Another flux is phi 2. But I am considering a mutual flux linkage. That flux linkage is carried out due to the flux cutting in between two coils. So another flux that is considering both coil, that is I am considering, that is your phi 1 2, that is the mutual flux linkage. And due to this mutual flux linkage, I am considering just like self inductance here, mutual inductance here is M. So I'm not considering whatever it is mutually adding or whatever it is mutually subtracting. I'm just considering the expression of mutual inductance. So now I can consider if there is a flux linkage. So I'm considering now, so there is no current flowing in this coil here. Firstly, I'm not considering any current which is flowing here, but due to this coil current, some amount of flux linkage is carried out, that is mutually flux linkage in the another coil is there. So here so this is your coil A and this is your coil B. So if you consider the induced EMF due to the change of current in coil 1 into the coil A into the coil B, induced EMF in coil B, due to this mutual flux linkage, that is your EM, the induced EMF, that is your mutual inductance M into di 1 by dt. So if you consider this, that mutual inductance M, that is equal to EM divided by di1 by dt. So this is one of the expression of the mutual inductance. In another way, like the self inductance parameter, you can also, this is one expression. So another expression you can consider, that is expression 2 here. So you know that EM, that is equal to M di1 by dt, that is equal to ddt of M into I1. Similar way, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, you know that that is equal to, if the number of turns here, that is your N2, the number of turns here, that is your N1. So if you consider the number of turns, that is N2 into d phi 1 2 here, the flux linkage in between two, that is d phi 1 2 divided by dt. So that is equal to ddt of into phi 1 2. So these two expressions are same, so we can consider that is your mi1, that is equal to n2 d phi 1 2. So you can consider m is equal to n2 phi 1 2 divided by I1. This is another expression. So another expression also you can find in terms of circuit parameter, that is your phi 1 2 is nothing but the mmf by reluctance. So this mmf creating due to the coil A current, so that is N1 I1, that is the mmf creating by the coil A, and that created flux is linked into the coil B. And if I consider the reluctance, that is your L divided by A mu 0 mu r. So you can consider the flux per unit current, the flux linkage per unit current, that is your flux linkage per unit current. So phi 1 2 divided by I1, so that is equal to N1 A mu 0 mu r divided by L. But from the method 2, we can get also that M, that is equal to flux linkage in the coil 2. So here I have also stated here, that is M, that is equal to N2 phi 1 2 divided by I1. So you can consider M is equal to, so phi 1 2 by I1 I have already expressed here. So N2 phi12 by I1, that means that becomes N1 N2 divided by L by mu 0 mu r into A. So this is nothing but the reluctance. The what denominator part is nothing but the reluctance. So ultimately you can say that N1 N2 divided by reluctance. So this is the expression of the mutual inductance. Now similar way we can consider the coefficient of coupling, because if there is one coil, flux coupling is carried out into another coil. You know that flux coupling may be mutually additive or mutually subtractive. Just a very good example of the transmission line, whenever a number of transmission line is drawn side by side, there may have some mutual flux linkage in between two transmission lines. So that transmission line, the current direction will dictate whether it is mutual flux linkage or self flux linkage is there. And the transmission line have a uh, broad effect of this mutual flux linkage, and that uh, manifested in terms of leakage reactance. So in the transmission line, whenever the two lines are carried out two lines are carried out side by side, so there may have some mutual flux linkage, and mutual flux linkage is manifested in terms of uh, reactance. So reactance. So that reactance is manifested in terms of voltage drop also. If the flux linkage is very much more, so mutual inductance is more, then the reactance part is also more, and the sending end voltage and receiving end voltage is comparatively less than the sending end voltage. When there is a more self inductance, then sending end receiving end voltage is less than the sending end voltage, and then it becomes a broad effect, that is the regulation of the voltage, the poor voltage regulation, then it becomes. So that inductive effect is manifested in transmission line also. So here I am considering the coefficient of coupling. So this is one coil and this is another coil. This is N1 coil and this is N2 coil. I am considering that total flux that is created by this coil 1, that is phi 1, and the flux linkage is carried out in the coil B, that is not phi 1, but there must have some fractional flux linkage in the coil 2. So that fractional flux linkage, that fractional flux that is linked into the coil 2, that is I am considering, that is K phi 1. So here K phi 1 is a fractional flux linked into the coil 2. And if you consider this, the fractional flux linkage, then your K is the coefficient of coupling. So here K is the coefficient of coupling. So here, as per the same rule, you can consider that L1 is equal to N1 phi 1 divided by I1, and M12, that is the mutual inductance in between two coil, that is the mutual flux linkage carried out, that is the fractional flux link into the coil 2, that is K phi 1, into the number of turns in coil 2 divided by the cause of this flux linkage, that is the coil 1 current, that is the I1. So this is your mutual inductance in between two coil. Similar way, if you consider there is a current which is flowing in coil 2 also. So coil 1 current is I1 and coil 2 current, that is your I2. there may have some another flux linkage in the flux creation in the coil 2, that is phi 2. And similarly, you can consider due to the coil 2 current phi 2, that is a self inductance in coil 2, that coil 2 L2 is equal to phi 2 N2 by I2, the total flux linkage per unit current, total self flux linkage per unit current. Similar way, if you consider in between two mutual inductance, that mutual inductance in between 2 and 1, that is M1, M21, that must be same, M12 and M21 must be same. So this M21, I am considering that M21, that will be the flux linkage that is carried out in this coil also, due to this coil also. K phi 2. The phi 2 is the created flux in the coil 2, and K phi 2 is the fractional flux linkage in coil 1 due to coil 2 current, coil 2 flux. So that will be K phi 2 into N1, that is the total flux linkage in the coil 1 due to coil 2 current. So that divided by I2. So ultimately, mutual flux linkage between two coil, that is same, M12 is equal to M21, and if I multiply this, that becomes M square, that will be equal to K square into phi 1 N1 by I1 into phi 2 N2 by I2. So ultimately K square, phi 1 N1 by I1 is nothing but L1, and phi 2 N2 by I2, that is nothing but L2. So ultimately K, that will be equal to M into root over L1 L2. So K is the coefficient of coupling, that is equal to mutual inductance into root over self inductance of coil 1 and coil 2.
सर सर उल्टा हो गया ना सर एम
Yes,
इज इक्वल्स टू के रूट L1 L2 होगा
actually here K, yes, M is equal to K is equal to this by this by this. So K is equal to that M by root over L1 by L2. So this, whenever the maximum flux linkage is considered, then K becomes 1 for maximum flux linkage. That K is equal to 1. So that is the design parameter that must be done, but it is not carried out in practically. So that must be done, but K is equal to 1, but it is not, it cannot be achieved. If K is equal to 1, then you can consider, then M is equal to root over L1, L2. So coefficient of coupling, as it is as per your design parameter, it is the coils are designed or transformers are designed such that the coefficient of coupling becomes nearly equal to 1. Then the maximum flux linkage is carried out. Then the device becomes more compact in design. So it is also criteria, that is the it will be whenever it will be more compact in design, then the then the flux linkage will be maximum. So sometimes it is evolved in terms of, for a machine design, so it is evolves in terms of torque per unit weight of the machine. So torque per unit weight, if you create the more torque for a comparatively lighter construction, then your design parameter is more efficient. So more torque per unit, less weight. So whenever a machine is designed having same amount of torque is created, with a very small size, small weight, then the torque per unit weight becomes more. The weight is less and torque is more. So design of motor or design of electrical machine is carried out like this principle, that is torque per weight ratio should be more. So weight is less and torque is more. So this torque is carried out, that is a flux into current. Torque is created, that is a flux into current. So whenever flux is more, flux linkage is more, then the created torque is also more. So that mutual flux linkage uh, is trying to become more. And then coefficient of coupling becomes uh, nearly equal to 1. So it is a design parameter, coefficient of coupling. So inductance, electrical devices, electrical machines are designed such that the coefficient of coupling becomes nearly equal to 1. Then your torque per weight ratio becomes more. Actually, I am coming to the footer part, and that's why some amount of work is also coming into the next part. If I consider the page break option, then I think one page is there blank. Now I am coming to the expression. So final expression, you can consider that coefficient of coupling. So that coefficient of coupling that becomes this is your this is k is equal to m by root over L1 L2. You can say that actual mutual inductance divided by maximum possible mutual inductance. So actual mutual inductance, that is nothing but k into root over L1 L2. But maximum possible mutual inductance, that is nothing but root over L1 L2. So this is your coefficient of coupling. Now I am coming to another topic, that is your magnetic energy stored per unit volume.
Sir, show the last slide again. Sorry.
Okay. So now I am coming to another point, that is magnetic energy stored per unit volume. A lot of high capacity magnets are created for hoisting works. Electromagnets are used for hoisting works. So heavy weights are plucked from one place and it is restored. It is uh, just conveyed to another place. So magnets are high energy magnets are used for hoisting work arrangement. So magnetic energy stored per unit volume is a very effective parameter for design and lifting magnet. Some amount of magnets are used for lifting uh, heavy materials. So magnets are used also. Also magnetic levitation, that is also carried out uh, in the same basis. So magnetic levitation is carried out uh, using very high capacity magnet. So having lifting capacity is very much more, and then here superconductors are used for uh, that can draw high amount of current, and when high amount of current is there, So the power is also becomes more. Lifting power becomes more. So I am considering now the magnetic energy stored per unit volume. So you know the stored magnetic energy, that stored magnetic energy, that is equal to half Li square. So in terms of the inductance parameter, inductance in terms of the parameter itself, that is equal to half n square A mu 0 mu r divided by L into I square. So you know the n is the number of turn, A is the cross section of the flux path, and mu 0 mu r is the absolute and relative permeability, and L is the flux path length, and the current which is drawing in the coil, that is your I. So that becomes half into A mu 0 mu r into L into Ni by L square. So Ni by L, that is your magnetic field strength. So Ni by L is magnetic field strength. So that will be equal to half of mu 0 mu r into A into L into magnetic field strength is H, that H square. So A into L is the volume of the magnetic field, effective magnetic field volume. So you can say that magnetic stored energy per unit volume. So if I consider in terms of meter, so per unit volumes per meter cube, that is equal to half of mu 0 mu r into H square. So you know that H B is equal to mu into H is equal to B by mu 0 mu r. So half of mu 0 mu r into B by mu 0 mu r square. So ultimately that is half of B square, B is the flux density, divided by, if I consider mu r is equal to 1, then B square by mu 0 for air. And if I consider for any magnetic material, then you can consider B square by mu 0 mu r. From this point, if I want to design a lifting magnet, so if there is a lifting magnet and this kind of if you consider there is one magnet is there and another magnet is there, S pole and N pole, different two different magnets are there, and this portion you are trying to, so these opposite poles are there and these poles are attracted, but you are trying to restrict this attractive force. So whenever some amount of uh, some amount of force is applied against this attraction force, and there is a displacement, that displacement amount, very small amount of displacement is carried out here. So this amount, say dx, against this attraction force. So there may have some this kind of arrangement. So this is a magnetic material. So there is an attraction force here. So if you do some amount of work against this attraction force, against this magnetic pull, then there must have some amount of work. So if this attracting force, that is your T is the attracting force, and you are doing some amount of displacement against this attracting force, so then there may have some, whenever load is there, there may have some weight is there. So against this uh, weight, you are drawing some amount of power for pulling this load upward. So there may have some displacement dx you are carried out. So if the pulling force is P, then the work done W against this weight by this magnet, that is your, by this pulling force P. Pulling force is the force by this magnet, that is the attractive force, and there may have some against this weight, there may have some weight. So against this weight you are pulling this load, and there may have some displacement dx. So work done by the magnet against this weight, the pulling, applying this pulling force, this work done by the magnet, that W is equal to P into displacement dx. But the volume of the magnetic field that is created, if you consider the cross section that is A, and the volume of the magnetic field that is created, that is D into A into X, A into dx. So volume of the magnetic field that is created, that is A into dx, and the stored energy per unit volume, you know, the stored energy per unit volume, that is half b square by mu 0 mu r. And if you consider the effective magnetic field volume, that is A into dx, so the stored energy becomes b square divided by, there are two magnetic poles are there. So if you consider in this situation, the two magnetic poles are there. For one magnetic pole, that is your half b square by mu 0 mu r, half b square, so b square by 2 mu 0 into mu r, into, if you consider the volume, A into dx. So this is your stored energy for the volume A into dx, effective volume A into dx. So if you consider this stored energy, that is manifested in terms of work done. So b square divided by twice mu 0, if you consider mu r is equal to 1, or rather if you consider this, there is a mu r magnetic material, magnet having a relative permeability mu r, that into A into dx, that will be equal to P into dx. That is already the magnet did some work against this weight or against this attractive force, whatever it may be. So ultimately, the pulling force P, that is equal to b square A into twice mu 0 mu r. So this is your pulling force. So if you consider the total pulling force, so for one magnet is there, one magnetic pole, and another magnetic pole is there. So total pulling force, that is your 2p. The total pulling force that is equal to 2p. So that becomes b square A divided by mu 0 mu r. So this is manifested or this is applied for creating a lifting magnet. Now I am coming to another topic, That is your magnetization curve. So you have already covered this topic in your 10+2 standard. Of any magnetic material, and this
Sir,
magnetization, yes,
uh,
yes, tell me.
just this page. Can you show this page? One.
Above page. So this
Sir, can
one.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 minute. All right, sir.
Okay. And magnetization curve, that is nothing but the BH curve. I think you have already covered this topic. But this, I think you have not covered this topic using this magnetization curve, how you can measure the flux. Did you cover this topic from the magnetization curve or creation of magnetization curve, how you can measure the flux?
Sir, we learned this in very little detail, sir. We just know like the introduction type thing, sir.
Okay, okay. So there are two methods for determination of magnetization curve. One is the ballistic galvanometer method and there is a flux meter method. So from this magnetization curve, you may determine the flux. So flux meter is used for determination, or ballistic galvanometer is used for determination of flux. So there is a circuit like this for ballistic galvanometer method. So using there is a battery, there is an ammeter, there is a variable resistance to change the current. Variable resistance is used for changing the current, and there is also a reversible switch for reversal of current. Reversible switch, that is your RS, reversible switch. You can reverse the direction of current here. And then there is a coil. And then another coil is there in the opposite side. There is also a variable resistance and a ballistic galvanometer. Actually, ballistic galvanometer is nothing but a very small range ammeter in the microampere level, having very high sensitivity. And there is a switch. The switch is used here to changing the sensitivity of this ballistic galvanometer. This is sensitivity controlling switch. Whenever there must have some resistance here. There must have some resistance here. So whenever you are applying this switch and change the resistance, the sensitivity of the galvanometer is changing. Whenever you are drawing more current to the galvanometer is more sensitive. Whenever you are drawing less current to the galvanometer, then galvanometer is less sensitive. Now, the coil that is your P coil, that is your primary coil is P coil, and your secondary coil is your S coil. You are considering S coil and P coil. Now, reversible switch actually used for reversal of current, and due to the reversal of current, there is a reversal of flux also in the secondary circuit. Whenever reversible switch is used, there is a reversal of current, and there is a input
Sir,
current. P.
are the coils overlapping, overlapping in that ring, sir?
Yes, sometimes the coils are overlapped. Some coils are overlapped with some amount of adequate insulation is there.
Okay, sir.
There may be overlapped or may not be overlapped, but sometimes it is overlapped with adequate amount of insulation. So actually, whenever the current is flowing in the primary side, there is a P, your primary side, S is your secondary side, and you are reversing uh, the current direction. Then the flux direction also reversed, and the flux direction is also reversed, and you are using resistance. The variable resistance is there. So whenever the flux direction is reversed, there is induced EMF in the coil B or coil S. I marked the coil S. So if I consider the ballistic galvanometer is there, ballistic galvanometer is a very low range microampere range ammeter. So uh, whenever there is a flux reversal, then there is a deflection of the galvanometer. So I am considering this deflection of galvanometer, that is your theta. That is the galvanometer deflection. So this deflection of the galvanometer is theta, and your ballistic constant, that is the charge per unit deflection. So galvanometer constant, that is your K, that is the charge per unit deflection. So whenever the charge passing through the galvanometer, স্যার আমি একটা ক্লাস নিচ্ছি, একটু পরে আপনাকে ফোন করছি স্যার। 12টার পরে, 12টা পর্যন্ত ক্লাস। ঠিক আছে, আমি করবো স্যার আপনাকে, ঠিক আছে। So your charge passing through the galvanometer, the total charge which is passing through the galvanometer, that is your K into theta. So flux phi is produced in the ring, that is due to the IP. And if you consider the rate of change of flux linkage, that is flux, that is your phi, and rate of change of flux linkage means whenever current direction is such that flux creation is plus phi. Whenever current direction is reversed, then flux is minus phi. So plus phi to minus phi, the uh, the the total flux change, that is twice phi. So K theta, it is your charge passing through the galvanometer. Ballistic galvanometer, I am just showing BG, ballistic galvanometer, coulombs. So if you consider this. I'm just writing from here. I think you have already noted down this portion. So your rate of change of flux linkage, that is carried out in time t. So that is nothing but the induced EMF. So rate of change of flux linkage in second coil. So that is the average induced EMF in coil S. That is your second coil induced EMF in the coil S. So average induced EMF in the coil S, that is, you can consider ES. That will become to NS is the second coil turn, and 2 phi by T. Phi is the flux linkage. So plus phi to minus phi, the total flux linkage is twice phi. Change of flux linkage is twice phi divided by T. It is not D, it is T. So that is the average induced EMF. Now, if you consider RS is the total resistance is the secondary coil, there may have some resistance in the actually. Whenever I come to the second page, actually total figure is wasted. So here there must have some galvanometer. There is a resistance also, variable resistance. So that is your RS and your ballistic galvanometer here. Sensitivity controlling resistance is there. K. So RS is the resistance. So induced EMF, that is in the galvanometer here, that is your ES. So you can consider the current that is flowing through the galvanometer, that is current. If you consider IS, that is equal to induced EMF NS into twice phi divided by T divided by resistance RS. So that is equal to IS current that is passing through the galvanometer. Now charge Q, if you consider charge Q, that is equal to current into time. So charge here, that is equal to IS into T. So that becomes twice NS phi divided by RS. Now you know that from the galvanometer constant, if the deflection is theta and galvanometer constant K, that is the charge passing through the galvanometer is K theta. So K theta is equal to twice NS phi. So N suffix S. Here it is N suffix S divided by RS. So theta, that is the galvanometer deflection, or rather you can formulate phi also. Phi, that is the flux, that is K theta into RS divided by twice NS. So that is your flux. So you can measure the flux using this galvanometer. So amount of flux that proportional to deflection theta. So using this galvanometer deflection, you can measure the amount of flux. Other parameters are constant. That is your design parameter of the galvanometer or the circuit. Now you can measure the flux density also. You can measure the flux density also. That flux density, that D, that is equal to K theta into RS divided by twice NS into A, Weber per square meter. And if the number of turns in the primary coil, that is NP, you can also consider the field intensity, that H, that is equal to NP, the is the number of turn in the primary coil, and IP is the coil current, and L is the effective path length of the magnetic flux, that is L. So that is ampere turn per meter, that is the electric field intensity, sorry, magnetic field intensity. So you can consider the magnetic field intensity versus flux curve. So that is your BH curve. I think you have already familiar about this curve. And another method is there for using flux meter also. So another method is also that can be carried out. So that you can show whenever I upload the class note in PDF file. You can show that same procedure is maintained uh, for measurement of flux using flux meter also.
Sir,
So
can
now,
you please go back to the previous page? Yes,
this
sir.
page.
1 minute.
Hmm. So another method is there using flux meter method. So that is similar. So I am coming to another topic. Time is very short. So magnetic hysteresis curve. I think you have already studied this magnetic hysteresis curve. The coil is there, and here reversible switch is there. There is a resistance, variable resistance to control the current, and there is a battery also. Effective length of the magnetic material, that is your L, and N is the number of turn, and double through switch, double pole double through switch. It is called the double pole double throw switch. Double pole double throw switch. So here, if you consider, this is the direction of this is the x-axis is the magnetic field strength, and y-axis is your flux density. So you know the flux density, you know the magnetic field strength also. Whenever you are increasing the current here, whenever current is increasing, so there may have some variable resistance, you can increase the current here from the zero positions. So current is increased like this. After some time, there is a flux saturation. So there must have some flux saturating point, because the permeability, it will bear some amount of flux as far as permeability. Whenever you are increasing current, the flux is also increasing, and H, that is Ni by L, H is also increasing. Field intensity is also increasing in terms of ampere turn and in terms of Weber per square meter. So you have done the expression of the B, that B expression, that is K theta Rs by NSAL. So this B also increasing. So after certain instance, when there is a flux saturation is there. But now you are decreasing some amount of current. Now what happens? This path should not be followed as because the hysteresis, some amount of residual flux density is there. So this is your residual flux density. So that is dependent on the property of the magnetic material, that is called the retentivity, how much residual flux density is there. Then the current becomes zero and your magnetic field intensity also becomes zero. Then you are decreasing current, means current reversal is carried out. So current reversal is carried out using this reversible switch. Okay. Then the curve traces in this point. So one time will occur, the residual flux density that is acquired here, that has been die out. But this amount of coercive force, this is called the coercive force. That amount of coercive force is utilized for dyeing the residual flux density. So this coercive force, how it is wide, that depends on the magnetic material. How much coercive force is required for dyeing out this residual flux density. Then the flux density is zero. Residual flux density is zero, but some amount of current is required and some amount of coercive force is required to dye out this residual flux density. Then again you are increasing reverse direction current. It follows the path like this. There is a saturation point. Then you cannot increase the flux. So this is your positive flux saturation plus Bmax, and this is your negative flux saturation minus Bmax. Now, whenever you are decreasing current in the reverse direction, so this is your decreased current. So decreasing current in reverse direction, so it will not follow its path. It will not follow due to its hysteresis effect. It will not follow the same path due to the hysteresis effect. So it will follow a path like this. So then also the current becomes zero, reverse direction current becomes zero, and your residual flux density, that is minus Bmax, Br. This is the residual flux density. Now your current becomes zero, in reverse direction current becomes zero. Now you are increasing current in forward direction. So to dye out this residual flux density, some amount of current is also required to dye out the residual flux density. So this is also plus Hc, that is also the coercive force. The plus Hc is the uh, magnetizing force, that is a coercive force. That coercive force is required to dye out the residual flux density in reverse direction. Then you are also increasing, then also the curve follows this path and it becomes this. So this portion, how much coercive force is required for dyeing out the residual flux density, that is the coercivity property, and that is dictated by the material itself. And how much is the retentivity, that is another property of the magnetic material. The how much residual flux density is there, that is your retentivity. So retentivity and coercivity, these are the two property of magnetic material that dictate uh, the how is the property of magnetic material and how it can be used. So retentivity is your power for retaining the residual magnetic flux, and coercivity is the power to dye out the residual flux density. So this is your magnetization curve you have already used, and from this magnetization curve you can measure also uh, the loss, the total magnetization loss also. That portion gone, to Now, hysteresis loss, if you want to formulate, that is
Sir, time is up. Ma'am is waiting.
okay. Time is up. Ma'am is waiting. So I think I will upload this class note to you, and you will see the class note.
Yes,
And
sir. Yes,
again,
sir.
if you have any problem, you may um, consult with me. I should forward this class note to you. I think please tell me again your group email ID.
Sir, you
Hello,
can upload it in the classroom, sir.
I can upload it in the classroom also,
Yes,
but
like the
for
previous
your
one.
convenience, so those class note I have already uploaded. You have got, na? You have already got the
Yes, sir.
class.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So
Okay,
likewise, you can upload this class note also.
okay. Okay, thank you so much for joining this class. Actually, syllabus is very huge. Some portion you have to read also. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I sent the group email ID in the chat box.